Do you think that in order to train your dog to heel, you need to keep punishing him and use a prong collar and hurt him? Well, probably not. But let's see what this trainer has to offer.
Andy Krueger here. Today's video, I'm going to show you how to properly start your heel command. This is for super beginner dogs. Any dog can do this, and this is the real way you start heel, the real way you train heel. This isn't a goofball YouTube video, how to stop the leash pulling in one magic trick. No, this is how you actually build heel.
I share the sentiment. YouTube is full of those trainers that tell you that they can solve your dog from pulling in like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. In fact, it's not that easy. And maybe because the method that they're using are so aversive, then they think they're actually succeeding in something, but they're not. And you can watch videos like that, which I reviewed here, but later.
No, this is how you actually build heel. Brand new board and train, just under a year-old German Shepherd. His owner's done a phenomenal job with his foundation, so I have a good blank canvas to work with, and I'm going to show you exactly how I start heel. Now, you guys know how I roll. You guys know how I roll.
Wait, before he rolls anywhere, he mentioned that this is a board and train. I will say that I do have a problem with board and train. I don't want to go into details in this video right now, but shout me out a comment if... Do you say shout me a comment? Anyways, write me a comment if you want me to make a video about why I don't like board and train. Oh, and another important thing that I want to mention is that this dog is not a puppy. He's not an adult, but he's not like a very, 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 very young puppy. Meaning that although he's saying that he's starting with a blank canvas, he's actually not starting with a blank canvas. He's starting with, let's say, a teenager, which is gonna make it maybe a bit more challenging, but still interesting. Let's see what he can do.
Food, apron, we got Lincoln's food. Woo! All up in there. Hello.
He's actually using the dog's food as a reward, which is actually a good idea. You don't need to use those crazy high-value treats all of the time. You only need to use them if the food is not enough or if you're working with something that's more complicated.
Right hand, left hand. Now, before you start trying to train heel, before you start trying to do what I'm about to show you, if your dog can't do this, don't move on.
Do what? Oh, eat a treat.
I know everyone's like, Andy, stop it. That's so stupid. That's so easy. Show us the magic of heel. If your dog can't consistently take food out of your hands without dropping it, without checking out, in any environment, don't move on. And I mean, you need to be able to take your dog to the park and do this. You need to be able to take your dog to the hardware store and do this.
Yeah, that's actually really important because if your dog is not actually taking the treats, don't go to those places. So sometimes you might need to do it in a gradual way. So for example, you see here that he's in someone's backyard, maybe his own backyard. I'm kind of envy if this is his backyard. Pretty big.
And what I'm doing is I'm grabbing 4 or 5 pieces of his food. I'm making a cup with my hand and I'm allowing him to eat out of there 1 piece at a time. So 4 pieces of food is gonna last me 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi.
I'm assuming that this is the beginning. Well, he actually said that this is the beginning of the training because you actually see that the dog is pretty mouthy. He's pretty aggressive in the way that he's taking the treats, and it might be challenging to actually do it in this way. But the more you do it, the more the dog knows that he's going to be rewarded, then the less aggressive he becomes, usually.
A good 3, 4, 5 seconds. If your dog can't take food like that, they're not ready to train. If you go to the park or the hardware store and you give them the food and your dog turns his nose at it and walks away, your dog isn't hungry. So your dog can't train this. You need a hungry, motivated dog to do this. So now that we got that out of the way, I'm gonna take that same technique of cupping my hand and holding the food in it, except I'm gonna take my hand, I'm gonna flip it, and I'm gonna pay him on my left side. So how to start training heel looks like this. Left hand, boom, boom, food pouch, dog on the left. Put the dog where you want him. He's not gonna magically drift into heel on his own. This is called luring. Dog needs to follow the lure right where you want him. Here we go.
Yeah, and everyone knows that all the cool people use those pouches. They're so stylish.
Boom. Reload. Boom. Reload. Bingo. When you go and try this with your dog, you have a handful of kibble, you drop it all over the place, the dog goes here, the dog's knocking food out. That dog doesn't know how to take food out of your hand. That dog doesn't know how to follow a lure. So you have to go back a step and do what I just showed you until they're good at that. Watch me put him in heel position. Follow the lure. Flip him. Pay him.
You see, it's not easy, but it is pretty easy. And again, it's not going to happen with like just one session, but by luring the dog and by kind of like shaping his behavior to the way that you want him to behave, to stand next to you, to not pull, that's all you need to do. No need to use prong or choke collars. No need to hurt your dog in any ways, because your dog is actually motivated and is happy to work with you.
I'll show you again. Follow the lure. Flip him. Pay him. I want his ear in line with my hip. That looks basic. If your dog can't do that, your dog is not going to learn to heel. You're not going to be able to teach a reliable heel. If you just slap a prong collar on the dog to get them to stop pulling, that's not training heel. That's using a collar to get them to stop pulling. And if you ever take that collar off, you're in big trouble. The dog's gone. So the dog doesn't actually know heel. This case, all he has on is a flat collar. I have a little 6-foot leash. I have his food. This is actually training heel. So again, I'm gonna take him, I'm luring him, I'm flipping him, and I'm paying him.
Yeah, I agree with him. The prong collar, all of those aversive tools, all they do is to maybe scare your dog from doing something specific. But the second that they don't wear it, or sometimes even while they're still wearing it, it doesn't work anymore. And they're not gonna heel anymore. They're gonna do what they wanted to do or what they know how to do, because they actually don't know how to heel. Now, should you mix both of the techniques together, the prong and this reward-based training? The answer is no. That's actually more confusing to the dogs, and in many cases will make the training even less effective.
Now, once you get this down pat at home, in your house, in your yard, now you take this to a park. Now you take this to a hardware store. And if your dog just totally won't do it at all in that place, you got a lot of work to do. You have to build it from square one, but your dog should be able to do this in any and every environment before you even think about fading the lure. Fading the lure is I don't have to have my hand right in his face feeding him all the time.
Yeah, exactly. You need the dog to know in different situations, in different locations, that he's always going to get those rewards. Now, fading the rewards is something that's going to happen, and is something that's actually very important. And you don't need to think, well, unlike just taking off the prong collar, In this case, actually taking the treats away might even increase the behavior, because now the dog doesn't know when he's going to be rewarded, so he actually tries even more because he wants that reward. This different treat schedule is actually more effective, but we only use the new schedule after the dog is very consistent, and we are very consistent in rewarding the behavior that we want the dog to do.
That's dog training. You teach something with a lure, then you fade out the lure, you add a word. Before you can do any of that, you need to be able to lure the dog in heel anywhere, anytime.
I'm not completely sure what he means that you fade it and you add the word. I don't think those two things have anything to do with each other, but I might not understand him. Basically, you can definitely use a word that kind of like predicts you giving the treat. That's actually adding some sort of a cue to get your dog to walk next to you. But that's not a replacement for the reward itself. It's not like your dog hears the clicker or hears the cue or the command, and just because he heard that, he's going to stand next to you. That's not the reward. That's something that indicates that the reward is coming if he does that behavior.
Now I know what you're thinking. Oh my God, Andy, that looks like it's gonna take forever. I so don't have the patience for that. Bad trainer, then you shouldn't have a dog. This isn't patience. This is learning how to follow a specific training system. I'm the least patient person in the world. I want everything fast right now, but I know how to follow a training system, and I know the steps that it takes. This won't take that long. This will take a month or two if you know what you're doing. If you start this when the puppy's 3, 4, 5, 6 months old, you can have a beautiful heel way before the dog's even 1 year old. Bad trainer, it doesn't take that long.
Exactly. You know what? I'm actually going to stop watching the video at this point. I really like this attitude. I only watched this video, so, I don't know if all of his videos are the same. I will link the video in the description. But yes, bad trainer to any trainer that thinks that everything needs to be done in like 5 minutes and you solve the problem. No, that's not real life. Even for us people, things don't change that fast. And definitely they're not going to remain and they're not going to be that consistent if we do them too fast. Also, bad owners. If the owners are expecting changes so much, then you shouldn't have a dog. Things can take time. It's not going to take years. It can take, sometimes even a few months if you're doing things right. But if you got the dog at an even younger age, it might take so much less time than that. So if you like this trainer like I did, go and like his video. If you didn't, I don't care, but go and like my video. You know what? Like my video anyways, and I'll see you in this video next.